Hello everyone, it is Caitlin, and today we are making an evening headdress for the 1850s. So to get started, I have lots of supplies that I got from Timely Tresses. So I bought these velvet pink roses, which I thought really looked like the original ones. And I bought two, one for each side. Probably could have gotten either a third or even a fourth one, but this is what I ordered, and this is what we're going to work with. I've got some of these vintage flowers that are in blush. They actually look really good against the silk, so against the silk of the dress that I'll probably be wearing this with, which is the cotton candy silk. And I got 4 of these. And in the stash, I found about 3 little pink flowers that we could potentially use if needed, and a lot of leaves. And I only pulled some of them, so also we won't use most of them. I was hoping to find some more velvet leaves, but I don't have any more, so we'll work with what we got. I have some millinery wire here, black velvet ribbon, which is about the width I think the finished thing should be. The original may have been slightly narrower, maybe like that, but I don't think it's worth cutting down, so we're going to go work with that. I think the first step is to measure my head and figure out how long this needs to be. And I'm measuring right about where my ear ends is where it needs to end. Around 15 inches. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do is make like a little rectangle that's about this wide, which should be 1.5 inches. This might do slightly less than 1.5 inches. I'm going to close it off with these. Get this to be about 15 inches, I said. This way. And a little less than 1.5 inches. So let's go right here. Push that. And it needs to be the exact length again. So 15 inches. And it needs to be turned this way. I'm going to cut that off because I don't need much more than this. I'm going to stick this on there to close it, and I need this whole thing to measure exactly what the other one measured. Which is roughly right here. I'm going to cut it right here. That's a bit wide, I feel like. I'm just going to cut a little bit more off of this. Okay. More or less, there's a headdress shape, kind of. Probably could use at least one piece like right in the middle to keep it from doing this, because it's like pushing its way in. Let me grab a little bit of this, and the ribbon will keep it in, so I'm not really concerned about in, I was just really concerned about bowing out. So to cover it, thinking maybe still just a tad too wide. I'll pin this in a couple places on this side. Hopefully that'll keep that on for a second. I'll kind of measure what we need with this side. Alright, so there that is, and it more or less fits. It could have been a little smaller at the back because my head up front's bigger and the part in the back is smaller, but I think it'll be okay. Let's go ahead and decide how we're going to do the flowers. Because I am thinking something and then cover this part up with the leaves and maybe some of these little flowers. So I do need something that's going to be quite dangly down here, but I think those could go a little bit further too. Okay. Now comes the fun part of deciding how this is going to work. Because go ahead and pin this in where it lays right now, so I can go measure and make sure it's not like getting away my ears or anything like that. It actually moved a little bit further down, which is helpful. Because I like to have as little gap as possible right here where it just looks like the flowers are just, you know, they just fit. So I'm going to go ahead and turn up this way and maybe stick it in here. What I would assume I would do. Okay. All this is going to be hidden. I just need to make sure that it's going to stay. And I'll need to stitch these on as well because I need to kind of be a little closer to the head. I can do that in a moment. Even if this is not all of them, just some of them need to stick there and then some of them can fall out like that. Okay, so this side needs to be roughly the same. At least in terms of height. that's looking really good. So let's see what we're going to figure out with these. I'll probably cut a little bit of this off. Cut two the same. Okay. We're going to stick it in there for right now. Just let it be held in place by that. Kind of fan those out. And then this one I want to go further down. A little bit more like that perhaps. We're going in kind of the same place. There we go. Alright, let's try that on. Camera battery died for a second, so I started stitching part of it on. And this is kind of what it's looking like. I just covered up the joins with several leaves. Might need to add another one in there, I think. But overall, it's looking quite good. And I stitched most of these down, but I left a few dangly ones. These aren't moving quite as much as I'd like, but they will still work. So I'm just doing a whip stitch to kind of attach everything, and then going in and attaching the flowers as need be. But trying to leave as much movement as possible, as that seems how originals were done, at least in bonnets. I assume I assume evening headdresses were the same. It's always dangerous to assume, but I've never seen an original, so we're going to have to go with what I do know. I probably could have made it a little bit smaller. It's a little loose on my head, but it also could be fixed by just like moving and making it tighter. So with the ribbon, or making the so kind of do wish they were more the same color, but it works. I think there was a lighter pink rose I could have chosen, but it's hard to tell on a computer screen sometimes. Stick that back in there. I'm going to just once kind of go around the little flowers here in the random places. Really just trying to tack them on. Okay. And pull these over a little bit. And I use a leaf that kind of looks like this to go this way, I think. It doesn't really need to be the same as the other side. In fact, it really probably shouldn't. It needs to look a little bit more natural, but I do want to kind of make it even as far as look. I put one of these underneath these flowers, which these flowers have not been stitched on at all yet, so I need to work on that in just a moment. Seems like it almost. Just in a couple places, need to make sure this is pretty well tacked down. Okay, I'm going to go right ahead and snip off the excess of these little lower ones if they're not in the way. I'm not seeing the other one, which means it's probably going to be fine. I think I used one of these leaves and I just used it to kind of hide the rest of it like that. Okay. I don't know whether it's useful to put in like a flower like right here, kind of facing the front, and it kind of does marry those two colors. Only thing is I have 3, which is an odd number, so stick that in there. Just gonna move it. So there we are. That was, again, quick, simple, easy project. I really, really do enjoy those. It makes me feel accomplished. So, it's a bit late tonight, but I might go ahead and try getting into everything, or we might just wait till tomorrow morning. Might be the easiest thing to wait. And then, yeah, we'll see how it looks on. I think this is the front. I think I decided this was going to be the front. Not that it particularly matters, it's just, you know. It really doesn't matter, but, you know, it looks good from the front and the back, which is always a good thing. I suppose if I ever wanted to, I could purchase some maybe more of these and make a nice little something for the back of my hair. So I'm not quite sure what was going on with the back of her hair, because usually for evening what I do is I kind of do a mid-ish bun and then I put curls underneath, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. You could just do bun. I might just do a braided bun tomorrow, we'll see. Cute little project, and I think it turned out really well. And it's just, it's all hand sewing, but it's pretty simple. If I did it again, I might make it a little thinner, maybe use inch wide ribbon instead of 1.5 inches, but it still turned out really well. And yeah, so I suppose we should go try it on now. Alright, and here we are. So you probably recognize the dress from last week, and of course you saw the headdress too last week, but so here it is, finished, and yeah, looking quite nice. It isn't quite as animated as I would like, so usually I would prefer a little bit more movement to these, but they kind of were already on wires, and there really wasn't, and just after taking them all apart, you know, much I would do with that, and that seems like a lot of work. So I think I'm good with how it is. I certainly do love the colors with this gown, and honestly I think it would look good with a lot of my dresses. So I have another 1850s dress that is blue and white plaid, and this one will look really good with it. The other 1850s dress is kind of a gold and white jacquard print, embroidered taffeta, and so it would look good with that too, but I kind of prefer to wear cooler colors with that gown, like blues and greens and that sort of thing, but this one will still work with that. It won't work with any of my 1860s things because the fullness of the sides is very 1850s, which is good because that's what we're going for. We're doing the 1850s, but it wouldn't look good with, like, you know, the black dress we did together or anything. So it is what it is. It is fitting really well, and it's staying pretty well, so it's not, you know, falling off or anything. I can kind of move my head back, and it doesn't like fall immediately off. It doesn't feel totally secure. I might decide to pin it in if I was going to do anything more strenuous. If I was going to be a little bit more active at an event, if it's an evening activity and there's happens to be dancing or something, I'd probably want to pin it in. But in all actuality, we'll be doing things. You know, sometimes parlor games can get quite active. So in those cases, I probably would want to like pin it in slightly, just with like a hairpin. But other than that, I think it turned out really well. Headdresses are something I'm not terribly fond of making, but I like them when they're done, and I think it adds a lot to an ensemble. So especially the floral ones, I just think they're so pretty, and they show up quite often in paintings and that sort of thing of just flowers. So I think they're quite useful, and I have several others planned that we'll work on. But yeah, so I'm quite happy with it. I think I would have liked it if the flowers were more the same shade of pink, and I think that was my fault because I think there was a lighter shade of these. But I'm kind of glad that we added those things at the side that kind of have both colors in it. I think it kind of marries the two a little bit. Even though you don't see them from, like this side, I think on the overall piece it works. And it's one of those things where, it's very easy to focus on the dresses because the dresses are gorgeous. But honestly, the dresses are only a very small portion of it. Like, you need the undergarments, you need the accessories to get the look right. So, I'm glad we're branching out and doing that sort of thing on the channel as well. Just other things, not just the dresses. So I'll try to make the next video a little bit more interesting and maybe doing a couple of dresses. I don't want to do all of them at once in one video because I feel like then you wouldn't get to see like all the steps of them all. It would be kind of rushed. And I don't want that. So maybe 2 per video, and then, I think that would be nicely spaced out. And you get a couple, every other week or every couple weeks we'd do another headdress video. Thank you so much for joining me once again, and I will see you in the next video.